As the title of this video says, I read some stuff. I don't know all of what I read this month, but I read some super cool stuff, and I'm really excited to talk about them today. Hello friends, happy Friday. It is the first video on Friday in 2023 and I am super duper stoked. It feels so good to be filming again. It was nice to take a break after the 25 days of shoujo manga and just thank you guys so much for all your love and support last month. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. Very much hoping to do it again this upcoming year. Now we're going to dive in to all of the titles that I read this month. Usually I like to say how many I read because for whatever reason I find it very satisfying to see the actual number of manga that I read. But last month was a very chaotic month with my reading. In fact, I was a little bit worried because I think it was, let's say about over halfway through December, I felt like I hit a really hard reading slump. And I was really alarmed because usually reading is my stress reliever. It's my go-to. It's my happy thing that I do. And if I'm hitting a reading slump, that's really dangerous for my mental health and well-being. And so I was like, what is going on? I was racking my brain really hard because I was like, this has to go. I cannot be in a reading slump ever. It's so dangerous. And so I realized that during that time, I had started reading a lot of different webcomics. I think I was reading up to 5 to 7 manhwa on 3 different apps. And I caught myself really loving what I was reading, on these webcomics. But you can only read 1 episode a day unless you pay to, unlock more episodes, or on Tapas, which I finally made a account for. Some of them you can read up to every 3 hours. I was like, man, I am reading some really cool ones. And because I was enjoying it so much, I was really having a hard time moving on to other things to read that instead. I caught myself just wanting to read that, and that was it. So in a way, my reading resolution for this year is to really cut back on the webcomics that I'm reading, despite that I really love it. But I struggle with that because once I'm hooked on a series or just a manga, that's it. I want to finish that all the way through, but I'm like, I can't spend $20 to $30 on coins just to unlock these chapters. But with that said, the one that I did decide to just go ahead, I bought a bunch of coins to read a variety of chapters because I didn't read it straight through. I was trying to read the ones based off of the images that I thought were the most romantic, which sounds so cheesy, but I was so invested in this couple. And that manhwa is What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. Oh my goodness, I love this series for a while now, and I think I talked about my last reading wrap-up last month. I had started reading episodes nightly, and it finally came to a point where that's when I actually realized that I'm like, I need to know what's going to happen to these characters. I just need to know. And so that's when I decided, I'm like, we're just going to go binge buy some coins, binge read, and I did. I haven't read straight through it. I don't know how many volumes I technically read because I said I was skipping different chapters where I just said based off the image, whatever looked the most romantic. And I am so stoked that this series is releasing from Yen Press. I already have volume 1 on pre-order. It was so good. It was so satisfying. And once I honestly finished it, I felt very happy and content. That was quite the ramble. Thank you for bearing with me on that ramble there. So talking about digital manga, so that is one series that I read, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. Highly recommend it. It's so good. If you love office rom-coms, yes, it is such a good series. The next digital manga that I read was volume 2 of Romantic Killer. I got an early copy from Viz Media, or digital copy, and I feel bad because I did not absolutely love this volume. I felt that some of the fun shenanigans that were in the first volume were not captured the same way in the second volume. I did not find myself nearly as invested, except for the ship that I really want to sell, and what's his name? Kazuki and Anzu. Oh my goodness, he's the orange-haired guy. He's the first guy that you meet in the series. I love that precious little being. He is so sweet. He is such a great character. I can't remember the best friend, the guy who represents the best friend, childhood best friend. I can't remember his name. I also really liked him and getting to know him in this second volume. But the third guy that you meet, could not stand. I could not stand him. I honestly skimmed a lot over his parts because that's just how much I disliked him. I feel bad. Whoever loves him, I'm sorry. I did not like him. I am all here for Anzu getting with the orange hair guy. I'm pretty sure that was his name, Kazuki or Kazuka. One of those. I'm all for it. I am interested enough in getting volume 3 specifically for those shenanigans that Riri keeps causing between them because I really, really love their friendship. And I'm like, I am just here for that couple and seeing if they will actually become a couple and the ship will sail. Even if it doesn't, I really love their friendship. I love how it's portrayed in this series. I think it's very moving and very, I don't know if encouraging is the right word, but it's always nice to see a really great friendship between a boy and a girl in manga where there's not necessarily any romantic feelings there, though there definitely could be, and that's why I want to keep reading. I sort of had another similar instance that's similar to how I felt with Romantic Killer in the second volume of True Beauty, which I also read a digital early copy of. I felt really confused for a lot of that volume because everything was very jumping around, I felt like, and I'm like, I don't know how certain things are happening. Wasn't this person just dating this person? How did this person get this job? I'm like, I don't know how we're getting from A to B. So I was really unsure if I was gonna love the second volume for at least the first half, and I was also really surprised that it had quite a bit of language, much more than was in the first volume. It was really caught off guard. But as we got into the second half of the volume, oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the girl's name, but the main girl, she is starting to see, I think, and I hope, is what her dream is to do with when she graduates, what she wants to do with her life. And I hope that direction that it seems like it's going in, I really, really hope it goes that direction because I think it'll be wonderful for her. She's very passionate about this. I am very, very curious and very interested. In fact, if I wasn't reading these physically, but like online digitally, I would go see what happens next because I love certain events that take place near the end that I just really enjoyed, and I'm just like, yes, it was really good. So glad that I read that and that I enjoyed it. All right, let's go into the physical manga. I feel like I didn't read much digital titles, but then I'm not including all of the webcomics and the manhwas that I was reading digitally. But for one of the first reads that I did read last month, that was Imakoi Volume 4, and this was so amazing. I continue to love our main characters, our main couple, so very much. This volume addresses of them wanting to take their relationships to the next level, and I really loved how that was handled. It was so good. Oh my goodness. Seeing Yagyu jealous was everything. I feel bad for saying that, but Yagyu losing his cool was like, it was great. It was so fantastic. It was so cool to see it happening. The Christmas date happens. It went well above anything I was expecting. I was very, very happy, giggling, laughing, feeling all of the happy vibes, as well as the ending, or I think it was like the last chapter with Valentine's Day. That was very funny and very sweet. And I'm just like, I love this series so very much. It continues to be in my top favorite shoujo that's ongoing right now. And so thankful that Viz Media gave us this because it is so good. It is so good. It's definitely one of those series, like every volume that I read, I feel so happy. And I'm just like, I love this couple. It's very fluffy and I love how just dedicated that they are to each other. This volume really clarifies, or not clarifies, but continues to show that no matter who tries to step in between this couple, they don't have a chance. They do not have a chance whatsoever. These two love each other so very much. And I'm just so glad that we have shoujo manga where, yes, they have drama in their lives and people come in and try and do things, but they're so dedicated and firm and confident in their love for each other that really there's just not any room for this self-doubt of wondering, are they going to leave me, or is this other person going to succeed and get closer to them? Just like, no. Just no. So if you like manga, specifically shoujo manga that's like that, check out Imakoi. It is such a good series, and I'm so thankful again that we're getting this series because I've really, really have enjoyed it and continue to enjoy it. Oh man, talking about volume 2s from earlier, I read volume 2 of I Swear I Won't Bother You Again, and it was so good. Oh my goodness. This was worth the wait. Volume 3 is coming out this month, and I am so stoked. I hope it does not get pushed back because it got pushed back so far out. and it was everything. I love these characters. I love this story. I do have a review of volume 1 that I did last year in the 25 days of manga. Well, 2021, not 2022. And it was everything. I feel like I rambled about this in one of my top 5 Wednesday videos, and I am blanking on what video it was because I was flailing. If I wasn't flailing on camera internally, I definitely was, because this series just continues to be everything that I have wanted. I came in with super strong expectations. Those expectations, what I got exceeded my expectations. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm so excited. I feel like I'm getting tongue-tied. But Violetta, she is such a fantastic heroine, and I really love just how she is addressing these different things that are happening in her life. I love, yeah, Yulon is his name. Oh my goodness. Like, I really hope that that ship sails. I am so desperate for it to sail. I love his character. There's another guy that we meet. I don't remember his name, probably because he's not my favorite. Oh, you can see him, sorry. I was like, he's in 2 places. He's right here. He is not my favorite. I don't hate him, but he's very, not sure what the right word is. He's not sneaky, but he definitely knows how to manipulate strings and circumstances, not necessarily in a bad way, but he serves Prince Claudia as his like right-hand man. So obviously he is doing whatever he can to help Prince Claudia in that ship sail. And I'm like, that ship don't need a sail. It does not. So I cannot wait for volume 3 to release this month. The next one I'm so excited for, because manga community, this was all because of your influence, and that is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. I actually have volumes 2 through 4 from my library that I'm waiting to read. I was not able to commit to a live stuff that I read last month. I mean, you will see that I would like pick things up, and no matter how much I was loving it, I would just put it down and read something else. It was really weird. So I'm hoping to get back into the vibe of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, because this was really good. I was a little bit nervous going in that I was going to feel a little bit afraid, but the art, oh my goodness, the art is so amazing. This is like one of those series, like you can enjoy it, which I did, but I feel like you could just get it for the art alone. Like, I honestly thought about pre-ordering the box set because I'm like, the covers are really, really cool. And again, just the art, I really enjoyed it. It was not nearly as scary as I thought it was. I read during the daytime and I was not super jumpy. I really like all 3 main characters. This guy here is another guy that he comes up, I guess it was about a little over halfway. I loved him. I thought I would be really biased in who my favorite character is when I was reading this, and I don't have a bias here. I don't really know who I would say is my favorite, but Nene, I think, might be my favorite because I was just seeing one of the decisions that she made in the beginning. I really, really loved. I love how it was very interesting seeing, sorry, I feel like I like change sentences. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But I really love how she makes a decision and there are some not good consequences that follow that, and she has to deal and address those consequences. And I really like that. I found her very relatable, like more so than I expected, to be honest. So I'm very curious. Oh my goodness, they're so great. I love these 2. I never thought that I'd be like, I thought I'd be like, I'm either for him or for Hanako, but I'm like, I'm here for both. I'm here for both. I'm like, I don't really know if this series has a romance. I mean, I feel like Hanako and Nene, that they get together, like given things that happened in this first volume, it would make sense, but I really like the other guy too, so I don't know. So I'm very excited to read more of this. I'm really glad that friends encouraged me to pick it up because it was different, like not in a bad way, but just the stories were so unique and interesting, and the way that it addressed or handled yokai was not something I have personally read before. So I thought that's what made the series very interesting and unique. Now, I will say, though, going into that last chapter with the girl, with the lady that's on the phone, I believe she's one of the 7 mysteries. That creeped me out a little bit, because she's like, please look for my body, and I was like, oh my goodness. So that one, I can honestly say, it did make me a little bit hesitant to get the next few volumes from my library, but then I kept thinking about it, and I was like, I really want to know what happens next. But I finally got the volume, so now I can actually read to see what happens next. So with this next one, my mood definitely dictated my whole thing of reading, and so I was at the library, and I was picking up Toilet Bound actually that same day, and I was like, well, just look at the manga section. I was like, oh, they have all of Queen's quality, and I was like, you know what? Let's just get it. So that is what I did. I went and hold on, let me finish this because this is quite the ramble that might come up. I read volumes 1 through 3 of QQ Sweeper, which is the prequel to Queen's Quality, but you must read Queen's Quality before you can read, you must read QQ Sweeper, before you can read Queen's Quality. And then I also read volumes 1 and 2. This series has been deeply impactful. I know I gushed about this in the Top 5 Wednesday, snowed in, like manga I would want to read if I was snowed in. I really love this, and it's just so weird because I loved it so much. This is all I read of this series, but I did officially buy, if you saw, I think it was on Twitter or Instagram, after I did a huge manga on haul of like a bunch of different things, I went and I bought this series of Queen's Quality. It has been very, very moving. I do hear that it gets dark and gory as the series goes on. I'm a little bit nervous about that, but I really love just the characters and the themes that are in this, and I found myself taking pictures of different panels and rereading pages over again, or just sitting there thinking about what a character said. So I feel like there's a lot of self-reflection when I read this, and that does not happen to me often, and I think that's also why I really love this series, and I definitely recommend this, and very much looking forward to doing a video review of this at some point because I absolutely loved it, and it's a powerful series, and I need to read it. I need to read it. This is the time of the month where I was like, we're just gonna read random things, and that is definitely what I did. I read Tokyo Aliens. Finally, I did a shopping video of where I got this unexpectedly. I did not love this the way that I thought I would. It was good. The main guy in this, wow, I loved him. In fact, I was like, I could see myself just continuing this series specifically for him alone and seeing the decisions that he will make and how he will handle things. I got very emotional in a certain scene because it just was like an instant flashback to my childhood, and his reasoning of why he always says goodbye to people was like seeing my child self in him. So I very much related to him, and I don't know what it was that I didn't connect with this volume as much as I did. I don't know if I came in with the expectation I'm looking for something like Kaiju number 8, and it is, but it isn't. I definitely feel like people have been saying it's more like Men in Black. I love Men in Black, so I don't know. I don't know what happened. Oh, I was so excited to read this, and I was like, we're gonna pick this up on a whim, and it was totally worth it, and that was Execuza and Stray. Kitten, this is so cute. I, for whatever reason, have had zero success with Yakuza manga, especially Yakuza with romance. I don't know what it is. I have just not enjoyed any of them. So I was pretty nervous, honestly, going into this. I was like, okay, I enjoyed what I had skimmed through at the store when I got this last year, and I'm like, hopefully I enjoyed it. And I loved it. Apparently, Yakuza and animals is my thing because this was so precious and so funny and so cute. It had such a great twist that I did not see coming, but was absolute perfection. I already have volume 2 on pre-order. No, I didn't pre-order volume 3 just yet, but I am stocking it. I found it's only 4 volumes. I don't know how I feel about this because it's a very lighthearted series that has a lot of humor and a lot of great pages that are just so funny. This poor little cat, he is so scared and nervous about different things, and the Yakuza guy, he's so kind-hearted, he's so nice, and he totally cares for him. If you enjoy Yakuza themed stories, and especially with animals and helping animals that are strays, there we go, that are strays, and wanting to see them have a loving home, this series is for you. It is so cute, so fun to read. I had such a great time reading this story. Like, I couldn't even start anything after I read it because I'm like, that was so adorable, and I'm so desperate for more. This was one of those pickups that I'm just like, I'm so glad that I got this, even though I was, like I said, I was nervous that I wouldn't actually enjoy it, but I absolutely loved it. Definitely one of my favorite reads from last month. These 2 volumes were not even on my radar, but there were a bunch of announcements last month, and after the anime announcement came out, I was like, you know what, we're gonna try it, and that was Mission Yozakura Family. My husband loves this series, and I did tell him, I was like, I will try it, and I said after the anime announcement, I was like, this sounds like a good time. This was really good. I liked volume 1. I didn't love it, but I was so sold with volume 2. I laughed so much when reading this second volume. It's sort of like Spy Family meets the Addams Family. I feel like that's the best way that I could explain it, and it has a lot of humor. I feel like the one thing to be mindful of is this guy here in the first volume. The reason I didn't love it is because he reminds me of Yuri from Spy Family very strongly, and I was like, I love Yuri as a character, but I hate how he genuinely loves Yor in a very interesting way. We'll just say that. And so I don't like that aspect of his character. This guy reminded me so much of him, but I was so glad that I kept reading the series because volume 2 really does clarify, and even at the end of volume 1, honestly, that he does not look at his sister in a romantic way. He genuinely is just a very on edge big brother who is very, very overly protective. This is such a good series. If you're looking for something that's very humorous, does not take itself seriously, because there are parts of volume 2 that I'm like, how? I'm like, how does this even work? I'm like, you know, we're not going to think about it. We're just going to keep reading. And as long as I didn't like to take certain things very seriously, I was fine. I was okay. I feel like if I would have, then I would have felt differently. But yeah, very excited for the anime. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see unfold on screen. I cannot wait to meet some of the, trying to see if I can find a cool art panel. Oh, he goes through so much. And I would say too, if you like seeing spies and seeing sort of what it takes to be a spy, but with some crazy shenanigans that do or do not work. Okay, this one doesn't have any, like, this is more action ones that are funny ones. Let me try to see if I can find one in volume 2. Look at his face. He's such a great character. He goes through so much. Of course, I'm not finding any. This guy right here, he reminds me of like a buff Deku. I don't think he doesn't have green hair. Oh, he does have green hair. Look at him. Does he not look like Deku from My Hero Academia? He has a very different personality. He does things with guns and such. Like, he sleeps, like his pillow is made out of bullets that he sleeps on, but he was super funny. And look at his little smile. He was such a great guy. I really liked him. There's a sister. She's very funny. It's just a very humorous story. I feel like I said that like multiple times, and I do apologize. But I was a little bit nervous. I feel like if you compare it to Spy Family with all of the hype for it, I do feel it's probably going to surpass this, I think. But I feel because we actually have some of this romance, even if it's sort of low key, I do feel like Yozakura Family wins out in that, because with Spy Family, you're wanting that romance and you're not getting that romance. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited for this. Definitely going to be reading future volumes. If there is any, well, with Queen's Quality too, if there's anything that I'm really disappointed that I did not finish this month, that is Otomin, because I started reading Otomin. I read volumes 1 through 5. Absolutely loved this series, and I'm just like, oh, that's when the reading slump was at its peak, and I just could not seem to get motivated to pick up more volumes, despite that I love it. If you're looking for a shoujo manga that really just has reverse gender roles, this series is it. It has been so enjoyable to read. I love Azuka so much. He is such a great male hero. Even Tachibana, I think is how you say his name. He is so great. Like, each character is very unique, and I love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers in this series. I never can remember how to say her name, but I love our female lead. It is so fun seeing her on page, seeing the shenanigans that follow. This guy is also really cool, and I was really surprised actually how he interacts with Azuka, and he is the last guy that I met in this volume, and it has been so great. It has been a very wonderful story, and it's definitely the series that I want to read first this year, because I really just, I don't know, there's something very special about this series that really makes you think and makes you thankful for the friends and the people around you who see the real you and encourage you for who you are. It's very encouraging and very inspiring, and seeing Azuka just grow into the man that he really is, who he is in the inside, and that being able to come out around with his friends, I continue and desperately want to see just him continue to grow and see him just bloom as this amazing young man that he is, and he's so sweet. He's so sweet. So hopefully here soon, with next month, I will be able to share a full video review of why I love this series and why I strongly recommend it. For this read, it's my second to my last one, and I put on Instagram when I shared about this, I was like, I know that I am the person that is known as the girl that reads the fluffy manga, and I love my fluffy manga, but this manga hit the spot, and that is The Boxer. Oh my goodness. This was so good. This was one of my favorite reads of this month. I don't know what it is with manhwa. They bring out the worst in me because I read, well, first I'd like to say a huge thank you to Yen Press and Beneath the Tangles for sending me a review copy. I read a little bit of the webtoon. I think it only does like the first 3 to 5 chapters. And let me tell you guys, where's he at? This guy here, oh my goodness. I was invested to see this man get beat up. I want him to get the junk beat out of him because I cannot stand him. He is on my top 10 characters I absolutely loathe. Oh, he's horrible. But this is so action-packed. It is a sports manga, I believe, is how it's been categorized online. And if you enjoy boxing or fighting and underdog stories, this series could definitely be for you. It is a fully colored manga, and the action scenes were so well done. You could feel the movement of everything, and you are main character. I love him. There are certain scenes with him. I don't even know if you could see it. This is actually one of my favorite pages. Nope. Yeah, yes, you can. This page here is one of my favorites, and I was trying to tell my husband why, and it's hard to put in words. This manga does this incredible job of taking dark pages like this and just able to reflect this emotion that you has as a character. It is very good. There continues to be more of them. There's another page, I'm not going to show that page, that is just so very well done. There is some blood that's in the manga, so be mindful of that, though I would not say it's gory or anything like that. My husband actually was going to be an MMA fighter, so I'm like, well, these aren't too different than anything I've seen before, but the bullying aspect that does happen, it was a little bit hard because that's actually why I hate the white-haired dude, because I was just like, this guy, he's a bully. He loves what he does. He loves beating up people, and he doesn't care how bad it is for the other person as long as he can have his joyride in beating people up. So I'm just like, I really dislike that guy. I really dislike that guy, but it was very, very good. I love the characters outside of the white-haired dude. I feel like you and there's another kid that I'm not going to say his name have very convincing stories. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this, and I'm so glad that I was able to get a review copy because I was a little bit unsure. I was like, my goal for this year was to read more shoujo manga, and I'm like, well, I've read more shonen recently, so here we are, but it's very good. Cannot wait for the next volume. My last and final read for this year, or for last year, and I was so bummed I couldn't get to both of them, was Shonen Node. If you saw my Secret Santa video, Professor Otaku gifted this to me. He gifted me another volume. I read that one today, so it will be in my next reading wrap up. This was so moving. I got very teary-eyed at the end because I feel like the mangaka was just able to capture the feeling when somebody's in chorus or choir. They were able to capture that feeling so very well because all through high school I did chorus and chorus and dance ensemble, and absolutely loved it. And so I felt a lot of nostalgia when I was reading this. Our main man, he's not, Yutaka, so I was supposed to say Yakuda, and I was like, no, that's not right. He is an amazing young man. I love how this manga was able to just capture the beauty of sound and how all sounds make music, whether that's good music or bad music. I very much want to know what happens next because this was such a very heartwarming manga. There's a lot of different things that play a role, but the characters are very fleshed out, which isn't something I oftenly think about, but I very much felt that everybody has different motivations and very curious about each person's motivations. So if you enjoy music-based manga, I highly recommend this one. It's very interesting, and I thought I would struggle a little bit with not being able to hear the music, but I had no problems with this. In fact, it honestly reminded me of Weathering with You. When I read the first volume of that manga, you can hear the sound of rain. And I feel like with this one, you can hear all of the different sounds that he's hearing and how it just makes up this melody and this song, and how he just is able to tune in and hear those different sounds that are making up this music that just, I feel like for me personally, that on an average day, I'm like, well, they're just sounds, but he hears them differently. It is so good and was just an epic way to end the new year with this being the last thing that I read because like I said, it was very nostalgic and a very moving and heartwarming story. That was everything I read last month, and I feel like this reading wrap up setup went pretty long, and I think it's just because this is actually technically the first video I'm filming for the new year, and I'm just like, I'm so glad to be back. I totally appreciate you bearing with me and listening to all my rambles. Totally let me know, have you read any of these manga? Are you curious about any of these manga? If you would like to know more about them or anything or have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below. I would love to hear from you, friends, and super appreciate you watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And again, thank you so much for watching. Bye!